Thank you for tuning in for the next episode on our discussion on Dark. If you haven't watched our previous episodes, go and check them out now, and spoiler alert for Dark ahead. A common theme in time travel media is that a catastrophic event occurs and the characters use time travel to fix their problems in the past and prevent the end of the world or the event of something catastrophic. More often than not, the apocalyptic event ends up happening anyways because of something that the characters did to make it happen, meaning that their time travel is what causes the apocalypse in the first place. There are many, many instances of this in pop culture, and Dark is no exception. We've already seen that the apocalypse in Dark is caused by a bootstrap paradox, but what we have failed to mention is that the apocalypse is necessarily inevitable in both of these realities. This is because the dual realities are deterministic, of course, meaning that all of the actions of the characters are bound to happen. In different universes, this is not always the case, and the apocalypse can be prevented or reversed in some way. In fact, we do get to see a version of that in this universe when Marta and Jonas stop the creation of the time machine, making their realities cease to exist, and the apocalypse ceases to happen. Thus, we learn a lesson about deterministic worlds, and that is this. The event must either come to pass or everything must cease to exist. There is no in between. But you may ask, how then did Jonas and Marta change this? The moment that the apocalypse happens is a moment of high uncertainty in which one can change the events that occur, as this is the origin point in which both realities are created. This is the Schrödinger effect that we've talked about previously. In this deterministic system, that is the one and only time change is allowed. As we can see when Eve uses this to create two separate realities, and thus one makes the change required to break out of the looping cycle and then escape determinism. So this begs the question of what would have happened if Jonas and Altmartha had not gone to the origin reality and stopped the creation of the time machine after breaking the loops. The apocalypse would still have happened in both worlds, yes, but theoretically the cycle would not have to continue and the loops would be broken. From the moment that Adam saves Jonas from the apocalypse, anything could happen and the world need not even end in Eve's reality. The pair of them could have theoretically prevented that from happening. So while Adam's reality was doomed to the apocalypse, theoretically they could have saved one world and continued living together in that world. That said, they would know that this world was never really the true reality, Adam having revealed this to Jonas, and that those other realities were doomed to repeat forever unless they permanently ended the loops by preventing the time machine from being built. If they choose to live out their lives instead of saving the world, they are dooming another reality to repeat forever, and thus, from an altruistic perspective, they would have necessarily needed to return to the origin reality and end things. Obviously, this is probably not something that went through the minds of Jonas and Marta. They just wanted all of the suffering to end, so they went and stopped it for themselves. I love the trope in which preventing the apocalypse is the main driving force of the characters in a time travel story. Whether or not they are successful is dictated by the type of universe that they live in, and the stakes are always real whether they happen to be the causes of the apocalypse or not. It's interesting to see that we have a deterministic system that the apocalypse happens in, and it can be prevented by breaking the system and making the universe cease to exist. And this is the end of our discussion about the apocalypse, but we're going to explore the consequences of a system like this where you can stop the realities from existing in our next and final episode on Dark.